Do like a variety, like Rainbow, Warzone. D E P P R E S E D F A L C-O-N. The one with the man in the black and white. Black and white. Black and white. So I'm thinking about, maybe a couple. That's 250. You cool 250? What do you like? We need to finish this. Have a look. You think they usually come by? I don't really want to know where the drugs are coming from. I just want to know that they're good. What? Let me see. No, look at the other one. The pressed falcon, okay. But with the space, try that. Try the pressed falcon with the space. What does it say? F-A-L-C-O-N. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just join that one. That's the live stream. Alright, nice. Yeah, I did. I'm just grabbing some, stuff, some spoons and spinners. Narrow spoon? Spinner tail. Let's quickly row a little bit down. Come on, anchor up. Thank you. Let's move. Let's row a little bit downstream here. Okay, anchor down. Anchor down. Oh. Nice. Let's see if we can get a fish. No, there's not much, but we have a big fish on the line. Oh, it's dragging me out. Don't do this. Ugh. It's dragging me out. Ooh. I've got it. Oh, no.
Please can do that. Yeah, fish. Okay, keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it, and then reel. Keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it. Go down. I'm trying to. This thing is not giving up. Keep it. It's dragging me out. Ooh. I got it. It's been sucked out. Please, little fishy, don't do this to me.
His only company is true. Until they can stand, their mother has left them hidden in the grass.
Oof, he is a big fish.
They should be safe.
Ooh.
For these calves, the clock is already ticking.
Let's lower it down. Pull it! Pull! I got him! He's been suckered. Bro, do you see how big this fish is? Look at the bottom right. You'll see 86 feet, 82 feet now. Look, it's pulling the kayak. That's how big it is. Oh, please don't flip it. Please don't flip the kayak. Yeah, I got it. It's here. Bro, look, it's right by the kayak. Oh my gosh. Look at that. A giant northern pike. Look. Oh, you just missed out on the biggest fish ever. It froze. No, don't. You never turn off your PS4 when it freezes. That means something's... Yeah. Let's see if I get another fish. No. That will cause a loading problem. Well done for entering Netflix. Bro, you should have seen the giant northern pike that I caught. Maybe we can get another one. Maybe we can get another northern pike.
There may be plenty of prey around, but lions struggle to run it down in water. The pride has 3-month-old cubs. They've never seen water before. If their mothers don't make a kill soon, the cubs might not survive a week. Fueled by the flood, the eruption of grass attracts new possible prey. Buffalo arrive in herds 2,000 strong.
Oof. I can hear you, I can hear you.
Powerful, aggressive, and united, they're the most dangerous animal a lion can face.
That fish nearly dragged me out though. I'm not sure.
They're simply too huge to be scared of lions. At 900 kilos, he weighs more than all 5 lionesses combined.
Oh, I just missed it. Let's get a bit more faster drag. Yeah, just wait for the thing to strike. Give me. It nearly. Yeah, that's usually, it's called a strike and I do it a lot. Look, so you see the spinner baits I'm using? It's so different and all the other fish are like, maybe, maybe not. So they usually don't attack the spinner bait. But when they do, it is quite a big fish. Watch this. Watch this. Should be a fish here. Oh, that's a fish, that's a fish. I might be able to catch a walleye. No, can't. I think I'm just gonna anchor up and I'm gonna go a little bit backwards so I can hit that area, yeah. Right there, fish just jumped out the water. Ooh, this might be a big one. Yeah, it's making waves. If the last barrier hits my baits, then you know you've got something.
These are hungry times.
And then we're gonna hit that. Bro, look how far I casted.
But ultimately, once the water recedes, there will be new life.
Bro, have a look on where I casted. That thing just hit my rod like it was Sunday, bro.
In the right conditions, grasses have the extraordinary
Jesus. Hoo-wee. I think I got one. Can I hire the drag? Pretty sure I can. Please be a trophy. Bro, look at the fish. We got a tiger. Yo.
And for creatures living within the grass, this is a landscape as vast and towering.
We got a tiger. We got a tiger. Hey, let's.
An excellent place to build a tiny treehouse for the harvest mouse.
Of the live stream. That's like my bait, as you can see. Oh, that's like me, or something. It's just like, it's an offset. It's an offset. I don't know what it is. It's probably an offset. Casting spoons, jerk baits. Yeah, just, bruh, the Sorga like scrubs. I need to catch a Sorga. I am like weeping for a Sorga, bruh. I need one so freaking. I'll show it to you when I catch it. You'll. What did you say? Yeah, you can get a Sorga as long as you do the correct things with the water movements. I'm trying to catch a Sorga, and if I can't get one today, I'm gonna get one with you. Oh, that was a bite. My meter just went skyrocketing. That might have just been a Sorga. That is a pickerel. Look. Tiger. Look everybody, I caught a tiger. Okay, I need something big now.
It's a tangled and dangerous world down here.
Optimal.
But she can read the pattern of the stems over and so
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can. I got an animal. I got another fish. It's pulling pretty tight though. It seems like a big boy. Oh, it's gonna tip my boat, bro.
her babies must fatten up quickly.
What are you? We got a walleye. Bro, look what we got.
On the African savanna,
I got you. Thank you, little walleye. Bro, did you see what we got? Did you see that? but we're looking for a Sorga, aren't we? Oh, that's a Sorga. That has to be a Tipfin's German Sorga.
But they have no way of flushing their prey out of the grass.
That has to be a 6 Sorga. No, it's a pig. It's trophy size.
Most insects stay put. The bee eaters need someone to stir things up a bit. A Cory bustard. It's the world's heaviest flying bird, so it should be bulky enough to kick up some insects.
What do you mean you have to go?
Someone else comes along and crams your sleep.
So we can play tomorrow, right?
Never mind. Perhaps there are
Okay.
opportunities ahead.
Bye.
What about an ostrich? The heaviest bird of all. This time there's more than enough transport to go around. Soon almost every ostrich has its own passenger. But free riders are only tolerated for so long. What the bee eaters really need is a creature so big it won't even notice them. Nothing cuts a swathe through grass like an African bald elephant. The trick is to fly as close to the front of the giant as possible. They only have a split second to grab the prize. As more insects are stirred up, the competition intensifies. With summer drawing to a close, the race to stock up is on. Soon the grass will wither, and this opportunity will have gone.
These ancient cultures, so you kind of just get a sense.
I need to go turn around, win, and pull. an 02 Mustang. It's LS turbo powered. I got paired up with Precious.
Let's see how.
Temperatures will be hitting the mid-30s. Elsewhere in Africa, in the northern part of the continent, certainly the northwest, we're colder than average. In Casablanca, it's only around 17, and the possibility of some showers. And also, some dark spreading to Europe as well. Now, across the Middle East, it's pretty quiet on the satellite picture here. You can see around the Arabian Peninsula, the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea region. These are the temperatures on Saturday. Modest 22 expected in Cairo. We'll match that in Riyadh as well. Abu Dhabi and Dubai, about the same. Salara there on the south coast of the Arabian Peninsula, closer to 30 degrees. A little change expected in the coming days. Our city forecast. In Dubai, I think the temperatures will be rising actually as we head into next week.
We all have a story to tell, and every story has to start somewhere. After all, overnight successes don't happen overnight. And the fact is, we all need a little help sometimes. A little help to get started, to keep moving, to cross the line.
For 25 years, we've been building the dreams of today into the lives of tomorrow. So if you have a dream, we can make it a plan. Direct access. With us, you can.
Hey you! Yes, you! You know who you are. You're the one looking for some.
Destroy personality with scientific means.
This is how one doctor's theories were allegedly used in psychological warfare against prisoners deemed a danger to the state.
And that was the foundation for the method of psychological interrogation, psychological torture of this way, disseminated within the U.S. intelligence community and worldwide among allies for the next 30 years.
And how the victims say they still live with the consequences today.
Recent studies suggest that it's not only our life experiences that help shape who we are, but also those lived long before us. How is it possible? Well, ask Mark Wallen, a leading expert in the field of inherited family trauma, director of the Family Constellation Institute and best-selling author. Mark Bowen, the leading expert in the field of inherited family trauma, director of the Family Constellation Institute and best-selling author. Mark, really great to be with us today on our show.
Thank you, Sophie. I'm glad to be here.
Alright, so Mark, you say traumas our ancestors might have gone through are passed on to following generations and impact our lives. How exactly does it work? And are these traumas passed as part of our genetic memory?
Actually, they are. When a trauma happens, it changes us. Literally, it causes a chemical change in our DNA. And this changes the way our genes function. Sometimes for generations, technically a chemical tag will attach to our DNA and tell the cells, because of this terrible thing which just happened, this trauma, it'll tell the cells to use or ignore these genes so we have a better chance of dealing with or surviving what happened. But then the way our genes are affected can change how we act or how we feel. For example, we can become sensitive or reactive to situations that are similar to a trauma, even if that trauma occurred 2 or 3 generations ago. If our grandparents experienced a war trauma, famine, killing, people being lined up in the streets, shot, bullets, bombs, they would epigenetically adapt, chemically change, a molecular change. They would adapt a skill set, but maybe sharper reflexes, quicker reaction times, reactions to the violence that they experience, and that would be what's passed down. How their reactions, their literally the stress response or the gene changes. Then the way our genes, we as children will receive their experience through this chemical change, this gene change. But the problem is we can inherit a stress response with the dial set to 10, and here we are waiting for this war to happen in our bodies 2 generations later, but we're born now in a peaceful time. So
how exactly works? I always thought that genes carry hereditary information that manifests physically, like eye color, hate, weight. But memory is something totally ethereal, tied to the subjective perception of things, right? Consciousness, which scientists still can't really define properly. So how can genes pass on something as incestuous as memories?
Yeah, now I'll give some of the studies that are so interesting. So it starts with a woman named Rachel Yehuda about 15 years ago. She's working with trauma survivors, Holocaust survivors, and she's realizing that the trauma symptoms exist in the children similarly as in the parents, but the children didn't go through the war. And it's not a taught or a learned experience, because then the scientists decide, well, let's remove some of the barriers, the factors that can influence this. So one of the most interesting studies comes out of Emory Medical University in Atlanta. This is probably 10 years ago, where they take mice and they make them fear a trauma like a cherry blossom like scent. The way they do that is the mice breathe in the scent and then they're shocked. And every time the mice breathe this scent, they shock the mice. And in the very first generation of the shocked mice, they already see that the brains have changed, that there are enlarged areas where there are a greater amount of smell receptors, so the mice can detect this scent at lesser concentration, thereby protecting themselves. Right in that first generation, their brains had epigenetically adapted to protect them. So the researchers have this idea. They say, well, wait a minute, let's see what happens in the next couple of generations. They take the sperm from the shocked mice and they impregnate women, female mice that were not shocked. And then they separate the parent from the child. And the amazing thing is what happens in the second and third generations. The mice, just by smelling the smell, became jumpy and jittery. We're talking about the pups and the grandpups. They had inherited the stress response without directly experiencing the trauma. This is just one of hundreds and hundreds of studies that I list in my book. There are numerous studies where they take the female mice away from their children for just even a very short time. In fact, one of the most replicated studies in all of epigenetics is taking baby mice away from the mothers and observing the effect for 3 generations. It's amazing how little the trauma has to be to affect the subsequent generations.
How does healing the trauma through therapy actually change my genetic makeup? I mean, does therapy make the trauma genes go away?
No. What it does is it can change that mechanism. So when we do the healing work, which I'm happy to talk about, it can change the epigenetic signature, which passes from parent to child. I'll give you an example. One of the ways in which we heal, we've got to have a positive experience strong enough to change our brain, and then we need to practice the new sensations and the new feelings from these positive experiences. And when we do this, we not only create new neural pathways in our brain, which is one of the things I talk about, neuroplastic change, but also we stimulate the release of feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, GABA in our brain. We stimulate the release of feel-good hormones like estrogen, oxytocin, but the very genes themselves also can begin to function in a new, improved way. We can literally change the way our DNA expresses when we heal.
Do we actually know what kind of gene is responsible for traumatic memories? Is it possible to identify?
Yes, there's one that researchers focus on called the FKB25 gene. There's about 100 or so genes, but this is a gene involved in stress regulation and depressive disorders. It's one that's well studied, but there are many that they isolate particular genes. In fact, just a couple years ago, going back to the work of Rachel Yehuda from Mount Sinai Medical, she found the exact same, in this particular gene, the exact same gene changes in the very same region of the very same gene, generation to generation.
Alright, so you're saying actually is that we're not born blank slates, but with adaptive fears, prejudices from previous generations. How can one break the spell of this hereditary process? Is it ever possible to heal from transgenerational wounds altogether for once and for all?
Absolutely. That's what I'm here to tell people, that we're not, we may be born with a certain destiny, a certain inheritance, a biological inheritance. For example, our parents, our grandparents had these traumas that happen, and we're born with these abundance of microRNAs or this change in histone or DNA modifications, and all of a sudden we, out of the gate, are born with fears and feelings that don't always belong to us. And we can change those experiences of compassion, receiving comfort, receiving support, experiences of having a gratitude practice would be a way to change it. Experiences of even a generosity practice where we're doing something loving each day, loving kindness practice, mindfulness practice. Ultimately, anything that allows us to feel strength or peace or joy inside these types of experiences feed the prefrontal cortex and can help us reframe that stress response that we've inherited, so it has a chance to calm down, it has a chance to down-regulate. The idea is to pull traction, pull energy away from the limbic system, where our overactive amygdala in a trauma, which can be twice its normal size, and to bring engagement to the forebrain, specifically our prefrontal cortex, where we can integrate these new experiences, and our brains can change. Really, we know from mindfulness studies that practicing mindfulness actually shrinks the amygdala and thickens the prefrontal cortex.
Mark, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we'll continue talking to Mark Wally, leading expert in the field of inherited family trauma, talking about how our ancestors' trauma shapes us as humans. Stay with us.
It's been decades since the fall of Spain's fascist regime, but old wounds still haven't healed.
Llevo 25 años intentando encontrar mis orígenes. En mi caso, mi familia adoptiva me confirma que por mí se pagó cerca de 1.000.000 de pesetas, 6.000 euros del año 65, es mucho dinero.
Thousands of newborn babies were torn from their mothers and given away in forced adoption.
Era una ley bárbara y bestial, fascista, pero era un robo porque se hacía legalmente.
To this day, mothers still search for grown children, while adults look in hope for their birth parents.
And we're back with Mark Walling, who is an expert in the field of inherited family trauma, director of the Family Constellation Institute, best-selling author. Mark, what if, for instance, I don't know, I had bad things happen to me in my country, and I had to flee. But then I moved to America, and I opened a little store, and I lived a happy life, and raised some kids there in a very happy state. Will they still inherit the trauma?
See, they could. That's exactly what you're describing right here is perfect. We have a trauma. We move from that country. It can be very traumatic, just like you said, we had to flee. And all of a sudden our children are born with this fear of not belonging or not feeling their home, or feeling terrified every time they see a policeman, a man in uniform, because they've inherited aspects of the trauma you or your parents experience, and that's just it. We don't even make the connection. We just think we're wired this way. Here we are, born with a fear of men in uniform, a feeling of not belonging, a feeling of missing our home, a feeling that we'll never fit in. All the things that we're talking about potentially that children could experience, and yet they don't make the link to look back at your experience, your parents' experience, and that's what I'm trying to teach people. When we have a fear, an anxiety, a depression, some stress response, it may not, like the title of the book, it didn't start with you, it may not have started with us. This could be, just like you said, the experience of the parents or the grandparents. And here we are not born as a blank slate. In fact, there's already this operating system that's to use a computer analogy, already running in the background. So the idea, again, basically to put it in a nutshell, we need to practice being with these uncomfortable sensations in our body. So the first thing I have people do in the book is to become a detective of what I call the trauma language. So I ask people certain questions so we can get these fears and feelings out. One of the questions I ask in the book is, Sophie, what's your worst fear? The worst thing that happened to you, if things went terribly wrong, if things suddenly fell apart, what's the worst thing that could happen to you? And the answer to that could be one of two directions. It could be attachment language. I'll be all alone. There'll be no one there. I'll have no support. I'll be left. I'll be rejected. I'll be abandoned. That goes in one direction, which talks about breaks in the attachment with our mother, which are heritable. Or the generational direction, another generational direction, is I'll hurt somebody. I'll harm a child. I'll go to jail. I'll do something terrible. I'll be hated. I'll be locked up. I'll do something terrible. I won't deserve to live. And you can hear the different quality of the language. That is generational language. And those events, who did something terrible? Who felt they didn't deserve to live? Who harmed a child accidentally or through war or purposely? Because it's this type of trauma language that I found when a trauma happens, not only does our DNA change the way it expresses, but literally it leaves clues in the form of fears and feelings and language in our psyche. For example, we have emotionally charged words and sentences that form a breadcrumb trail. So I teach the reader, when they read the book, how to listen for this trauma language. Because as we know from trauma theory, when a traumatic event happens to us, significant information bypasses the frontal lobes. So we can't really process the experience of what happened. We can't process this trauma. Because exactly what happened it can't be named or ordered through words because our language centers have been compromised in our trauma. So without language, our experiences get stored as fragments of memory, fragments of body sensation, fragments of emotions, fragments of images, language, which I'll get to in a minute. And we either remember too much or too little of the trauma. It's like the mind disperses and essential elements get separated. To say it briefly, we lose the story and never complete the healing. That's the problem. But these pieces aren't lost. They've simply been rerouted in our verbal or non-verbal trauma language. When it's verbal, it's like the sentences I told you. I'll be alone. I'll hurt somebody. When it's nonverbal, we have to look at our symptoms, our physical and emotional symptoms, particularly the symptoms that show up after something unsettling happens to us. So, for example, we look for the fears, the anxieties, maybe that strike suddenly when we reach a certain age. Age 25 is when our grandmother became a widow. She lost her grandfather and she never marries again. And here we are at 25 and we pull away from our partner without realizing we're connected to our grandmother's experience. Or, we have a depression.
Come on, Saga.
That begins after this event, and this event is similar to an event in the previous generation. Non-verbal trauma language, it's also in our relationship struggles, who we choose, the type of person that we choose, the way we're treated. It's also in our the way we deal with money or success.
So, you mentioned some of the means that could combat this genetic traumas, mindfulness and positive experience that replaces the negative memory, hereditary memory. Could something like, I don't know if it could mesh well together with the scientific approach, but could something like, hypnosis or past life transgression work to heal something like this?
So any modality really that has us focusing on what's positive, because the brain is designed to focus on what's negative. We have a negativity bias in the brain. 2/3 of our amygdala is scanning for threats. So it's very easy to remember and focus on the negative things that happen to us. It's not so easy to focus on the positive things. And that's, again, where healing lives, practicing what's positive. So again, when I was talking about healing earlier, we uncover or focus on what it feels threatening in our body. First, we focus on what may feel uncomfortable until we...
Sorry, just wanted to, so it's really more about the sensations that we need to focus on in our body.
Absolutely.
And sort of like unbottling them rather than getting to the bottom of the genetic memory of what happened. Because you know how they say once you get to the bottom of the story, it sort of loses its magic. It has no more power over you. So you're saying that's not the important part. The important part is to really work through the bodily sensations of where the spheres are.
I'm kind of saying two things. Yes, absolutely. And it is important to know that it's not our story. That is key. So, for example, through our trauma, through our looking inside ourselves, we discover, oh my God, these are my feelings. This is what happened to my grandmother. This is what happened with my mom when, my mom gave away her first baby. I aborted my first baby. My dad failed at age 40. I start to shoot myself in the foot at age 40, and I fail too. My grandmother and grandfather lost everything after they had children, and I've lost everything after I had lost children. It's important also to be able to look at these experiences to get some freedom from the traumas that come before us. And as you put it, absolutely, it's extremely important to focus on the life-giving sensations in our body, like, for example, pulsing, tingling, softening, expanding, our blood flowing, our heart beating, waves of energy or warmth, holding what's positive in our body, not just what's frightening in our body, but going beneath that until we reach life-giving sensations, and then being able to hold the experience of what's positive for at least a minute, and then do that 6 times a day. That can be enough to change our brain, to calm down our stress response. It's essential that we take time to have these positive experiences, and then to let the sensations of these positive experiences affect us physically, affect us viscerally, and the feelings that are in our body.
Also, I want to look at this whole thing on a larger scale, right? And if we count not just our parents, but a few generations back, which would be World War, Great Depression, and we say that like we get traumatic inheritance from them as well. Then, if you think about it, everyone in this world, almost without exception, has trauma. Are you saying we're all damaged in one way or another? Because like, if that's the logic that we inherit, trauma not only from our parents, but maybe grandparents and great-grandparents, then show me one person who hasn't had trauma in his genealogical tree.
See, I think trauma is the doorway to greatness. So when we look at what's uncomfortable and we feel what's uncomfortable, something in us rises to a more calm, peaceful, connected state where a lot of good can happen in the world because we've looked at what's uncomfortable, we've dealt with it, we've used our traumas productively. But to the first part of your point, absolutely, all of us, going back far enough, I mean, they show a 3-generation link in the trauma research. So our parents, our great-grandparents, our grandparents, and our parents, we can be affected by their traumas. But then, because the traumas often don't heal, you might as well go back 3 more and 3 more. So all of us, yes, can be affected with fears and feelings and depressions and anxieties and stressors that do not belong to us. But again, that other thing that I was saying, that's the gateway. that's the gateway to surmounting what's difficult, surmounting what feels impossible. We all know that when we reach a good plateau in our life, a good place in our lives, we thank what was difficult. We say, if it wasn't for that cancer, I wouldn't have my heart open. Or if it wasn't for that difficult experience, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So the way I look at trauma is that these are our opportunities, our doorways.
But then it makes me think, what will the collective trauma of living through this pandemic do for us all? I mean, are we doomed for, I don't know, 3 to 5 generations of people with PTSD? Because, I mean, most of us have probably been traumatized by COVID in some way or another.
It depends on exactly what personally we experienced during the pandemic. You know, yeah, we're all disconnected from other people, that's true. But also there are parents losing children, children losing parents. We lose our income and our ability to provide for our family during this pandemic. How successfully are we navigating through the feelings of this pandemic? Because it's stirring up a lot of helplessness, isolation. That for sure is true. But then again, it's an opportunity to go inside, because the pandemic, what it's doing to us, it's making us feel, as I said, helpless, isolated, scared, lonely, and that's bringing up a deeper well of personal trauma. Again, for me, more doorways that we can walk through, a doorway of looking. So for me, you know, this pandemic is a place where we can focus on personal trauma, and that's where we can heal. You know, because our children, our grandchildren, as we talked about, they're inheriting molecular changes, gene expressions from the experiences, our parents' experiences, our grandparents' experience. And one of the ways we heal collective trauma that we're all experiencing is to heal our own personal trauma. We've got to do our own work, Sophie. We've got to heal what's in shadow. We've got to integrate what has been fragmented in us, how we numbed out, how we shut down, how we split off, how we tightened not to feel something. Then from a place of more clarity, once we've done this work, once we've learned to self-regulate our limbic brain, we can take action, we can do meaningful things in the world, we can create a meaningful impact in the world. When we're clear, we can focus on what we're meant to do in life and do what we enjoy, you know, what energizes us. Again, the pandemic is another doorway through which we can look at our isolation, our loneliness, our pain, and start healing.
Well, on that positive note, I want to thank you for this wonderful interview. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
It's worth. Who've done it mystery on their hands.
Oh. Looks like elephant, you think? This is scaffold pole. If I can things, look at that. It's a sad day. You win some, you lose some, and this time the animals have outsmarted us. And in fact, check this out. So this is our little army of guards protecting our sugar box. Do they bite? These ones? They bite? Sting? Wow, wow. Ow.
While Chapman irons out the bugs, Sandesh has met some grumpy locals. Wild Asian water buffalo have extraordinary senses. Others will charge if they feel threatened. The guard carries a gun in case a warning shot is needed, and with good reason. More people are killed by buffalo than by any other animal in Casablanca.
What
what's the sudden charge for?
Lovers.
Okay, let me give you one of this. You have rolls there as well. Where's your plate?
Here. Please, Dad.
Plate.
Not at the moment. Give me a sec. Give me a I need a fish, Dad.
Morrow.
Not your roll.
Morrow. In the okay.
It's got sauce on it, Dad.
You need a spoon.
No, I don't.
There's a teaspoon for the livers.
Yay. Thanks, Dad.
Eat the livers, dip it into the liver. The liver's so nice. It's Mozambican paprika. It's very lekker. Dip the bread.
The security cameras are turning up some unexpected results.
That's nice, eh?
That's a very rare sighting.
That lekker. Eat some livers.
So I thought this was elephant damage. I never thought we'd see a sloth bear doing that. That's amazing.
A return to the rhino carcass and the plot thickens.
Our friend liver's gone. That's the focusing of camera traps.
The security cameras have caught a new culprit.
Oh my goodness, there they are. Oh, they're not like this, see that? Just like this. Oh, it's fine, look at that. Look at that. Sure, don't they?
With the technology struggling, Slandesh decides to put himself on the front line.
And now we're ready. When we get the payday.
You'll have no protection apart from a thin wall of grass, and the hope is as well hidden as the local wildlife. Over the next 5 days, Slandesh plays the role of human camera trap. Eventually, the more hands-on approach pays off. Traditional filming methods and original depictions have helped reveal the hidden creatures of Casablanca. But it's good to know there are still wild places where animals like to keep their secrets. Next time, we venture to the newest habitat on Earth, our cities, to reveal the extraordinary ways that animals survive in this man-made world.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.